All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers in today's video because last year they had the most underwhelming 11-6 season I've ever witnessed in my tenure as a Green Bay Packers fan. So 25 years now. I loved their draft. I loved their offseason. It was very quiet. It reminded me of last year where you guys saw Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney make day one immediate all-pro-esque impact right out of the gate for Green Bay. And so, a couple of moves highlighted by the guard pickup from San Fran, Aaron Banks, Matthew Golden via draft in the first round. It was crazy, but I do want to preface this video talking about Jordan Love real quick and the overall Green Bay Packers, because like I keep saying, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and there's this tweet. This guy's doing a phenomenal job. This guy's charting every single throw from every single quarterback last year. And Jordan Love, his one got nitpicked a lot because on intermediate passing, which is a regular season throw from 10 to 19 yards or between there, and also having no pressure, that's important to note, Jordan Love threw a 66% catchable ball rate, which was 32 out of 39 qualified quarterbacks. So the way I see it from a Green Bay Packers fan is it just wasn't in the cards. And week one, in hindsight 2020, week one, Jordan Love getting injured on his last play of the game, it just kind of is how it's a good representation of how our entire season went. And whether it was Jordan Love, honestly, he was banged up pretty much the entire season, or it was injuries to the wide receiver room, or it was drops, or it was penalties, or whatever it was, it just didn't feel like it was in the cards last year. And so, we're in this ring culture in the NFL where if you don't win a playoff game, if you don't win a Super Bowl, it was a failure of a season. I'm just an enjoyer of football, man. I just like watching my Green Bay Packers, and it was a stressful 11-6 season, but hey, it was an 11-6 season. My favorite part about Jordan Love is that he dies on his sword. We compared him to Brett Favre. We compared him to like a hybrid of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre before he officially became the official QB1 for Green Bay. But looking at this film from last year, he reminds me 100,000% of Brett Favre. And if he can kind of hone in that Aaron Rodgers check down, no turnovers, no interceptions, don't throw the ball in dicey situations unless you have to, let's just manage this game. I mean, that sounds so out of context because I guess I probably just called Aaron Rodgers a game manager, which obviously isn't the case, but you get what I'm saying. If we can just clean up some of the small stuff, whether it's footwork, timing, chemistry, you name it, I really think this Green Bay Packers team is I mean, they might have the same 11-6 record, but it's going to be a much better season. So folks, before we get into it, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And I honestly need to talk way more Green Bay. I really do. It just makes it feel a little bit more like a job, which I just love my Green Bay Packers. So hit that like button for enough Packers video every single week. It was fascinating. Last year was really interesting because, like I said, we spent a bunch of money on Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney on day one of free agency, and we spent franchise history numbers. And then in the first round of this year's NFL draft class, we did not take a defensive player, and we took 22-year-old franchise streak ender, Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, which marked the first time a first-round pick at the position in 22 years. Over 2 decades. So like we said, Jordan Love comes out as a huge winner because this kind of feels like the wide receiver number one potential guy, right? Jaden Reed's a stud. Christian Watson, when he's healthy, is a stud. Romeo Doubs is a stud. I think Dontavian Wicks and Green Bay Packers organization agrees there's a ton of potential and a ton of talent that has yet to be tapped, or at least consistently tapped. The Packers wide receiver room all offseason and even all of last year was like, all right, they need a wide receiver number one. Who are they going to go for? Are they going to go for an Amari Cooper or a Stephon Diggs? A guy like that. And then the season goes out and it's like, unless they're going to trade for a DK Metcalf or a George Pickens, the wide receiver room's probably going to be the same because there's no way Green Bay takes a first-round wide receiver. And that's exactly what we did. And we'll talk about Savion. Hopefully we'll have enough time. But Matthew Golden is huge in general, with or without wide receiver number one potential, because Christian Watson's anticipated or expected to miss at least half of this season because his tore his ACL in week 18. I mean, it was the worst timing ever. So Jordan Love will never openly admit he wants like a go-to clear-cut wide receiver number one guy, but at the very minimum, Matthew Golden should provide at least some reliability and easing the burden on Jordan Love's shoulders this upcoming season. Golden was an absolute stud. He dropped just 4 passes in 2024. He was one of the best in the class with a 61.1% contested catch rate. He was especially good on the deep ball, which, like I keep saying, when Christian Watson's not in a Green Bay Packers football game, the deep shot is hard to come by. And when the deep shot's hard to come by and the opponent secondary does not respect your deep ball, they're going to shorten and tighten the field. And they're going to play you... they're going to let you beat you with the deep ball. And when Christian Watson's not on the field, it's few and far between. So that's what I love so much about this draft pick, is it truly felt like a dream, because Matthew Golden had 10 catches on passes thrown 25 plus yards down the field last year, which was the first most in the entire SEC conference and the 6th most in all of college football. But even before his breakout year last year at Texas, where he caught 57 balls for 987 yards and 9 touchdowns, he had over 75 catches and about 1,000 yards and 13 TDs in his 2 seasons at Houston. But like I said, I'm glad we had enough time. I have to talk about Savion Williams, because he's being touted as like this boomer bust. Maybe if he wasn't in Green Bay, I think he could be a boomer bust. But I think if you were to put him in a Matt LaFleur system, or you put him in a Kyle Shanahan 49er system, or McDaniel over in Miami, I think your odds get a lot better, and that's why they took him, because we'll talk about his drops in just one second. Savion's been compared to Cordell Patterson because they can do literally all of it, whether it's running the football as a running back, being a wide receiver, returning kicks. Last year, he showcased it. He even threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Jack Bett, who ended up going 2nd round to Las Vegas. But, I just mentioned he did drop 8 passes in 2024. But on the contrary, he did have the best contested catch rate in all of college football at 88.9. I'll just rattle off these fun facts because this guy is so fascinating. Savion Williams had as many rushing touchdowns, 6, as he did touchdown catches last season, making him one of only 2 college football players and the only receiver with at least 6 rushing and receiving touchdowns last year. Matthew Golden's teammate, Jaden Blue, was the running back, was the other guy. He averaged 6.3 yards actually on 51 rushing attempts as a senior, and got handoffs in the backfield as a traditional running back, and then also as a wildcat QB. He did not fumble in 200 career snaps from scrimmage. That's my favorite part. So I understand he dropped 8 passes last season, and Green Bay led the NFL with 25 of them. So it is a little bit risque, but you already have Jaden Reed. You already have Romeo Doubs. You already have Dontavian Wicks, Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs. I could just rattle off our whole roster offensively. My point is, Jordan Love is going to love Matthew Golden. He's going to love Savion Williams. And next year, even if theoretically Green Bay goes 11-6 and makes the playoffs, it's going to be a much better, more hyped and anticipated playoff run if they went 11-6. So thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Have a great week, but give me a loose win projection for the Green Bay Packers next season down below. Peace.